So let's get the ball rolling on this Tuesday the 2nd of January, 2024, and the digipreneur. He's in the building. Keron Rose joins me on the Zoom line. Happy New Year to you, Keron. Great to see you, and blessings, abundance for this 2024, my friend.
Happy New Year to you as well, JW, and to Trinidad and Tobago.
That's right. We're looking at business, and for those either established, whether you're established or you're getting into business, what are some of the key elements, key advice, some of the must-have, the must-do for 2024, especially within the digital world? Go right ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So for today, I got 5 things that businesses should be doing for 2024 if they really want to set themselves apart for this coming year. Now, the first one is a big thing. Now, you see, usually every week I might have a different background. And one of those things is business owners need to start traveling more. What happens is that when you're living in a country and you're seeing the same thing for too long, sometimes your creativity, sometimes the innovation can get stifled, right? You're not really benchmarking yourself against, what is really happening within the space, in your space, around the world. So business owners for 2024, start looking at ways that you can start to travel more. And when you do travel, don't just travel for vacation. What you want to start doing is, if you're in skincare, if you're in hair care, if you're a barber, whatever your industry is, start checking out what those businesses are doing in other countries and in other cultures. That way you have an idea and you can have some creative ideas that you can start to bring back into the country to innovate within your own space. And I know people are going to say, well, not everybody can travel. But here's the thing. If more people start to travel and take those lessons and bring it back into their business, at least now for the people who aren't traveling, they have a better benchmark of people doing some really good things locally. So my first one is more business owners need to start traveling more for this year.
Yeah, I mean, traveling is the greatest knowledge that will ever be acquired. It's only when you travel you're able to see and understand and, as you said, do your comparisons, especially with price point. Because sometimes we tend to realize we're very blessed. Yes, there are certain things rather expensive, but when we compare especially service-based industry in the US, the cost of a barber, dollar for dollar, is sometimes, if not the same, more out there in the US compared to a barber here. And it just, it is what it is, right?
People complain about $100 haircuts in Trinidad. Yeah, come to the States and pay $100 too.
Yeah, imagine man like us bald head man just get to mark and tell you 50 US. You were like, what? But that's a different story for a different day. So travel is important. What can someone do, let's say, on the island, sit down in the office, in front of the PC, in front of the laptop, on their phone to help with their business this year, on the digital side?
So that flows into my next point. My next point is business owners need to start going to more industry events, right? So on the island, we don't have a lot of events that are happening that are going to help upskill you, right? So in the digital marketing space, e-commerce, in sales, again, a lot of the big events are happening worldwide. So you can either get up and travel and go to these events when they're happening in person, or if you can't make it, remember, because of the pandemic, every single event happening around the world has a digital component to it. So if you can't make it there physically, start looking at industry events that you could attend virtually. Remember, a lot of the events within our professions to help us upskill, they're not happening in the Caribbean, right? So if you're not attending events in your industry, cybersecurity, anything, if you're not attending these events, how are you learning? How are you upskilling? So you need to start going to industry events, whether they are in person, and if you can't make it in person, then start signing up for the events, pay your money and do these events, do the workshops remotely, because upskilling is going to be huge in 2024 if our businesses are going to see success for this year.
I mean, people might ask, what's the benefit really? I mean, obviously, yes, the ability to network, meet other people like-minded, but what's the real benefit of going to some of these knocker glass and, you mix and mingle after you hear somebody go up on the stage and speaks?
So you know what? I'm glad you kind of said that, because a lot of the events that happen in Trinidad are mix and mingle, knock a glass, and there's no real benefit. when you're going to a lot of the events outside, it's more workshop style. It's you actually learning. There's things that they're teaching you. It's a workshop. It's not just to go and network and hear people talk. A lot of the industry events that happen is actual workshops where you're learning. So those are the events that people need to start looking at. What are those events that are actual workshops where you are learning and you're taking away skill sets? Maybe there's a certification, but the whole purpose is that it's an actual workshop style event where you're being taught how to do particular things within your industry. And a lot of those things don't happen in the Caribbean. So you're going to either need to go outside or you're going to need to sign up for their remote passes and do it remotely.
What else do business owners need to put in place for 2024?
Yeah, another big one is businesses need to start doing the research and figuring out, how do I get featured on authoritative platforms? So if you are in, like, let's just use, Keron's a big one, or Stag, these places are big ones. But I would love to see the next evolution now is for them to start entering into beer festivals and start trying to get accolades, start trying to get awards within your space, right? There's a lot of platforms that are giving out awards, or that they're grading companies or grading skill sets. Your goal now as a business owner is to start figuring out what industry awards, what industry categories can we start to excel at internationally, and put ourselves in the ring so we can get some international recognition, right? We would love to hear that, hey, you're coming to Trinidad, there is a world famous roti shop that you have to go and visit because they were getting featured in Forbes, right? A lot of foreigners are looking at these publications to learn about different businesses to go and check out. So for businesses here, what authoritative platforms around the world can you start pitching yourselves to so that you can get coverage and that you can start building those accolades to build your brand? And that way, when people are traveling to Trinidad, they say, I read about this roti shop in Forbes, I have to go and check it out. So that's another key one for businesses this year.
Indeed. And we're looking at about probably 2 more. I know we would have touched on 3.
Yeah, and I'll make these ones quick because I know we're wrapping up out of time. So 2024, businesses, you need to start enhancing your digital presence. Remember, everybody is grabbing their cell phones. They're learning about businesses through their phones, through a Google search, through a Bing search, through social media. If we cannot find you to do business, we are simply going to focus on convenience this year, and whoever pops up in a Google search for when we are looking to get a service or get a product, that is typically who is going to get the business. You cannot not be digital this year, and you cannot afford to not be found, because all of your customers are savvy enough to do a Google search to find out exactly who they need and where these people are located. And the last one that I will say for 2024 is businesses, you need to invest in your growth. So think about it. What tools do you need that's going to help you do your job better? What skills do you need to learn to be able to do your job better? And that's a big one. Remember, a lot of these skills for your old jobs or your old roles, a lot of them are going out. We have AI, right? There's a lot of skills that are coming up that you're going to be able to need to know in order, if you want to do better in your business or your role this year. How do we get into new markets? Remember, if we're talking about the Trinidad economy, struggling or not doing what it needs to be doing, how can your business start to tap into new markets? And you need to be thinking about that even as a small business, because even if you're selling products, there are platforms that we could use where you can list your products and get your products into the US market, the Canadian market, the UK market. Start thinking about what books you need to purchase, what courses you need to take, whatever is going to allow your business to grow. You need to invest in your business, invest in your skill sets, because 2024 is a whole different year, and the gap from the rest of the world to the Caribbean is widening every single day. We need to start closing that gap and investing in our knowledge and our skill sets in 2024 if we want to close that gap.
How do you feel about it, though, 2024, as we look to wrap things up? Just on a personal note, are you optimistic? Are you a bit settled with it? You're going into the unknown, just kind of floating to see what takes place? Or what's your personal sentiment on 2024, Keron?
2024 for me on a personal level, so we know the brand is called Digipreneur, Digital Entrepreneur. I intend to live up to that 100% this year. There is a lot of travel that is planned right now, both personal but also business-wise as well. And I feel for me, this year is going to be about being on the road, learning more from different businesses, different cultures. That way I could take all the knowledge gained and bring it back to the Caribbean region and diaspora on the whole to educate and teach. So I'm extremely excited this year. A lot of the travel plans that are already booked, I'm super, super excited for. And I really I couldn't wait for January to start because I have an idea as to how this year is looking. There's a lot of opportunities, there's a lot of upside, but you have to make this thing personal. You have to be able to say, this is not just going to be my year. I'm willing to do what it takes for this year to be successful because we have all the tools. The knowledge is there. What are you willing to do to make sure that 2024 is your year? I'm doing what I got to do. And again, I'm excited for this year.
Hey, definitely, and I could sense it. And it's going to be a great year. It's going to be a year of abundance, Keron. So thanks as always, making that commitment every Tuesday to chat with us and to just bring knowledge to the table so we could empower ourselves and make better decisions.
Thank you very much. And JW, I'll see you next week.
For sure. Keron Rose, our digipreneur, touching base on this Tuesday morning. We come back with some more motivation this time around. Just concerning 2024, the plans, the approach, the perspective, the mindset. That's going to be a very interesting one. With us, we have author and, of course, speaker, Jesse McBarrow. Remember, he would have wrote a book for us last year. Well, we're going to set some goals for 2024. This is motivation to start our new year. That conversation up next.